Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Congratulations. On behalf of the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the Schmoes Know, you are now a member of the Jedi Alliance. May the Force be with you, always.
Welcome to Jedi Alliance, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told. I'm Ken Napzok, and we are here on a sweltering day in beautiful Los Angeles. It feels like we are on Tatooine with the twin suns bearing down on us, but I still got on a sport coat. I'm here styling for you in the Star Wars universe. We have got a fun show. I brought out the Mighty Mugs. The old Mighty Mugs are with me today. I've been collecting these along with the G.I. Joe ones for a while now, and then I kind of fell off when I fell in love with the Funko Pops. And then at Star Wars Celebration, I got that Admiral Akbar and that Lando Calrissian and the Chewbacca. And then Chris Stuckman bought me the Imperial Guard as a birthday gift.
That would be the one for
right? Because I couldn't find it at Celebrations. I went on a rampage through the vendors trying to find it. We could talk about my Mighty Mugs for a long time, but I want to introduce my guest. This is not his first appearance on the show. It's his first appearance on this show in that seat.
In this chair.
He is one of the fine engineers here at AfterBuzz TV. He's also a great host on NXT, their AfterBuzz network show there, reviewing WWE's NXT with Hobo and Kathy Kelly. He's on the Popcorn Talk Network show, Do Games Make Good Movies. Roger Craig Smith, my good buddy, was just on that show with you guys. And he hosts a great podcast called The Gimmick Podcast. If you'd like to talk more wrestling with this guy. Mark Donica.
It's weird being on this part, on this side of the camera, but it is an absolute pleasure to join you, especially for this show.
And you were at E3 last week, and so you couldn't join us for the Figure Fights episode.
No, and I don't know if anybody can see, but I'm repping my boy IG88 right there, and if I was here, it would have been a much different
We
stack.
can talk about that. What do you feel about IG88 going out in the first round to an Ugnaught?
He should have been the Ugnaught. He really should have, honestly. But I don't think he would have made it to the finals.
No,
but
you're thinking at least a second round,
yeah,
right?
at least a second round.
He's got to that Don Morocco past the first round of WrestleMania 4 spot. He's got to get past that.
Yeah, just on sheer charisma
alone.
Yeah,
the charisma of IG88,
which is hard to talk about because he's a robot.
He's a robot. Where'd you get that pin, though?
This pin is actually an official Disneyland trader pin. Yeah. So I got lucky. I'm a bit of a trader. They don't have too much Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
But
yet.
But good Star Wars stuff, I should say, because it's weird. But the a lot of the cast members have mystery trades where you look at it and it's the other way, and it's like, do you want to take a chance? It's Star Wars related, and I was just, sure. Here, I'll give you 2, and saw it. IG88 totally cashed in.
That's your guy.
Now it's my new favorite.
And that's also a Disney Star Wars shirt too. You got there. The one you had this on the show before, the May 4th celebration. It's got the Y-wing.
It's got the Y-wing.
It's got Y-wing.
The Star Speeder.
It's got a Y-wing shooting at Slave 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's canon.
If this shirt was canon, it would be the most chaotic battle.
So you got a lot of things from the Disney Star Wars gift shop at the Star Tours.
Oh yeah.
Do you have Darth Mash?
I do not have Darth Mash.
Mr. Potato Head, Darth Maul? No. Does anyone out there own a Darth Mash? Tweet me, Facebook me a picture. Of course, you can join along in the conversation on Twitter at Jedi_Alliance and find our Facebook page, Jedi Alliance. And you can also join us in the chat room. We got a lot watching now. Today, we're going to talk a lot about E3. Mark had the pleasure of going there, and a lot of Star Wars stuff coming out of there. Battlefront, Infinity, and then Old Republic wasn't there, but it broke around the same time.
They announced the new expansion, but there wasn't anything playable. They just kept playing the trailer over and over.
So we're going to break into that discussion. We're also going to talk about Star Wars Rebels Siege of Lothal, which debuted this weekend. It's kind of the movie that's going to start Season 2 of Rebels. That will pick up again in the fall, and I liked it. We're going to get into it there, and if you've listened to the show long enough, you know that I kind of was iffy at times on the first season of Rebels. I might have come around full score. I will admit when I may be wrong or was too quick to prejudge, except for the book New Dawn. But no, I'm kidding.
That one you'll never.
Really. No, you know what? I've got a little New Dawn side talk. I'm going to give it a second read at some point.
Everything deserves a second chance.
Everything, because the story of Kanan really, for me, started in that book, and I love Kanan. I think Kanan's a great character, and a lot of what I see of him comes from my knowledge of his story from New Dawn. So I got to give New Dawn credit for that, right?
Yes.
Hey, like I said, join the conversation. We love hearing from you, so keep sending your tweets and comments. We read every one of them. I try, even during like a Thursday morning, I'll try to log in and read your comments. But I don't want you to miss a chance to take the important listener survey at podcast1.com. That's really big for us. Your responses will help us make this show the very best it will be and can be. It'll only take about 3 minutes of your time. That's like a half a parsec. And you'll get instant gratification that comes from knowing you helped us out. You can tell us how you really feel about me, Mark, and IG88, and talk about the show and help us get to know you better. Do it now. Take the survey at podcast1.com. That's podcast1.com. Keep that conversation going. Mark.
Sir.
It's your first time on the show in this seat, as I said.
Yeah.
That means we need to know you as a Star Wars fan.
Oh.
Correct?
Yeah, correct.
Ichuta. Oh, I'm sorry. Apologize. So it means you get the 5 most important Star Wars questions.
I've been excited and fearing this moment for quite some time.
Yeah. You've been preparing? You've been studying?
Yes.
You got notes hidden behind that thing over there?
It's written in my brain.
All right, here we go. I want to know your first time seeing Star Wars. What generation of a Star Wars fan are you?
Well, I'm a second generation. I'm a VHS generation. So it wasn't so much going back into the annals of my mind, and even talking to my parents about everything. That the one earliest memory that I always had was every Saturday, not every other Saturday, every Saturday, I would watch Return of the Jedi on VHS.
You've got a bit of an obsessive nature, because you confessed in your Cantina confession a few weeks ago. You made your mother ride Star Tours endlessly during one day at Disneyland.
Yeah, that was yeah.
So every Saturday, you turn on WWF Superstars and you watch Return of the Jedi, right?
That is exactly true.
That's the order.
I watch Superstars in the morning, yeah. And after cartoons in the afternoon, once everything was, they kind of did whatever. When left to my own devices, I would just put Return of the Jedi in. And that was me as like a 5 or 6 year old. And that's the earliest Star Wars memory that I have. But that also tells me it's been a part of my life since before then, if that's just on the regular.
Right. Do you think at any point did your parents sit you down and just new hopes floating in the back of your brain, or, you know, that you connected to Jedi? What made you, if you can remember, go back to 5 years of age, what made you connect to that?
I don't. Like, I do remember when the special editions came out, watching them and not being like, oh, this is new, but being, this is wrong. Like, something's different.
Even at a young age.
This doesn't seem right.
Nah.
Why is all this crap in the way and look digital?
Right.
But it was, it's just more of something that's always been, that it's,
right.
It's culture now. Star Wars is just culture now.
Yeah. And it's always, that's why the generational thing is interesting to me. I'm a technically second generation Star Wars fan. I guess Jedi being my first in the theater, you could say, was a third generation Star Wars fan. Not really, but just in terms of age. But I saw the commercial first, like I always say, and I always. It's so weird because you go from zero to loving it. So there was something in that trailer that I connected with. It might have been a blaster shot, a Luke's lightsaber, all that kind of stuff.
For me as a kid, of course, it was the Ewoks. That's what they were designed to do.
Right.
Really. But then, of course, it was Luke's lightsaber was green, and green's my favorite color. So,
nice.
you know, it's all the small little things here and there that really made me go, oh, this is cool. And then getting older and going, oh, this is really cool, and then understanding further and further, and just the world just exploding. Another early memory is playing X-Wing versus TIE Fighter for the PlayStation 1 at my uncle's house every single time I went over there, to the point where it would break and I wouldn't be allowed to play it anymore.
Wow. What would you say is your favorite of the movies? Does Jedi hold up for you?
As much as I love it, everybody's answer, of course.
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. Damn it, we're too similar. Empire. Yeah. There's just too much in there that sets up for what Jedi pays off, but it's more intimate. You learn more about everybody. There's
something to that word intimate, and no pun intended on the kissing scene. But yet there's something a little slower about Empire that I think lends it to, that's where the character aspect comes in and where Kershner succeeded so well. He didn't have the big fight other than Hoth. He couldn't build towards a fight other than the lightsaber duel, but that's just two characters.
But also that lightsaber fight is my favorite fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again intimate. It's the first meeting of Father. Well, arguably, if we don't, arguably,
unless you count Marvel Star Wars issue 2, right? I believe.
Yeah. Which I look back at that panel, the Skywalker with the glass shadow. Oh, that was that's so good.
It's good stuff.
But yeah, that fight is just so. You feel
there's weight to it.
Yeah. It's not just the weight of the situation, but it's the power of the dark side. It's everything. It's holy crap, Luke's about to die by his father's hand, and Yoda was right. Whatever, like poor Luke. But it was
a story building up. It was like Luke. It wasn't Jedi was Luke's WrestleMania moment. He goes over Vader, but kind of with the help of Vader with the swerve, but. That one to me is kind of like the SummerSlam moment. Luke's not quite ready, but he's in the main event.
Yes.
He loses, but he's going to come back.
It's going to be a very wrestling term heavy show.
I can turn anything into wrestling talk.
You really can.
It's what we all should do.
The pace of the fight, though, just how every single move, the strike, stop, readjust, and how Vader, and it kind of showed in the Rebels episode today too, where Vader is he knows he's too powerful and doesn't have to exert himself, and his power is his control. It's just phenomenal.
It's good.
Yeah.
Just talking Vader, lightsabers. I love it. But that means I need to ask you, what's your favorite character?
See, this was the one that I had the most trouble with. Everybody says Han or Yoda. For me, it became like, who do I identify with? That's the kind of a viewer for movies that I am. It's who can I identify in this world, and who can I see myself sort of emulating the most? And that's Luke. It really is.
He's the greatest baby face in the galaxy, man.
Yeah, arguably.
He's the guy, as Mark Ellis said on this show. He's the good guy. He took out the Death Star. He's the guy we're supposed to root for. He's
got everything, and it's not in like a oh, look at how great this person is sort of, not in a Roman Reigns sort of way. No, just kidding. But we learn from the very bit, he's just a kid who never knew his parents, wants to be like his dad, finds out that his dad is the exact opposite of the person he wants to be, but can still he sees the good in people. Here's Darth Vader, somebody who can kill somebody without just like, whatever, later, you are done, I'm done with you, you're dead. But here's a guy who can go, no, I see something. Not just because he's his father, but because of his force ability.
What you're saying, it's a testament to part of Luke's character.
Yeah, Luke as a character, like as a metaphysical character, as opposed to just like what he does. The way that he acts, the way that he conveys himself, he's still a hotshot, cocky kid. Yeah, but especially when it comes to Hoth, and once he starts losing his friends, it's even more of a you get to grow up with him, which is great.
And Luke, you do, and that's an excellent point. And Luke is kind of the guy that, there's a little bit of soul to him, that the rebellion, it's good versus evil, rebellion fighting empire, and they're just fighting. Luke's the one to go, wait a minute, there's some people over there that still might be good. It's my father, the biggest baddie in the galaxy. But that's a testament, again, to Luke's character. So have no shame rooting for that blonde-haired kid from Tatooine.
But at the same point, it was almost the Emperor. From a purely performance standard,
McDermott is great.
Beyond brilliant. Just consistently throughout all 6 movies, he's the one person that you can believe his intentions the whole time, and understand his character the whole time. But
he loves it. Chews up scenery too, man.
Exactly.
That's some of my favorite
stuff. Just too good.
Some of my favorite stuff. Favorite Star Wars quotes when you're begging your mom to take you to Star Tours for the 14th time that day when you were a kid. Any quotes that are coming out of your mouth?
I could see that this is your first flight, and this is mine too. Of course, any of the Star Tours ones.
You have Rex's speech memorized, don't you?
All of Rex's dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be experiencing some turbulence, so please make sure your seatbelts are fastened right before you go into the comments. Like most of that, like even the basic. Oh no, we're caught in a tractor beam. Just like really basic stuff. Exactly, because it's like it's Star Wars dialogue that's being spoken to you.
Yeah,
directly, making you a part of the story. So any of that stuff,
and I love it.
Even just the Star Tours. What are you doing here? This is a combat zone. It's restricted. Ease off on your main thrusters. Any of it.
And by the way, you can see, I think, that all that video stuff online, YouTube. You can dig and find it. But that ride, I'm glad they redid it. It's fun. It's a ride I can ride 3 times in a row and have a different experience in generally speaking. But I do miss Rex. And there's an Easter egg of him there around. But Rex also, I'm a Paul Rubens fan, going to the Groundlings and all that stuff, and growing up a Pee Wee Herman fan. And I love that that was Rex, man.
Yep. An uncredited role, but it seems so easy. It seems so easy just to convert one of them into, like, at least for celebration, to convert something into the old ride. Just that.
Any other quotes that you?
I mean, do or do not. There is no try. That's classic. One that I just like saying is, well, what have we here? Just
absolutely.
There's just a lot of fun stuff to say. And it's a trap.
Yeah.
Anything.
Hey, the fact that you know those Star Tours lines is good enough for me. Those are good quotes to know and whip out whenever no one will get them at parties.
Oh, actually, one that just stands out amongst the rest that everybody can identify with. We need a midichlorian count. That line can get a rise out of anything.
The greatest Star Wars line of all time.
Write it down.
What is your favorite force power, Mark?
This was hard too, because
you were waiting for this.
Yeah, I'm playing a lot of the games. There's a lot of, like, the precognition is whatever.
That's a lot of syllables, man. I just like to choke.
I like choke. I like lift. Probably the telekinesis. Probably just make your life a little bit easier. Like, oh, there's a thing over on the couch, then just bring that.
It's the most practical of all.
Yeah, it's the most. I'm a practical guy. I don't need to change. I don't like changing the way people think.
Yeah.
I don't like the trick is cool for parties, but like. I would feel terrible using that on somebody in any honest situation, which would lead to the last question.
The last question, which before we get to that, some people know this. They're putting some quotes up in the chat room, and I got to give credit because this is one of my favorite quotes that I have used. Toby Ellis, songwriter on YouTube, says, "Charming to the last." That is absolutely one of my favorite Star Wars lines. I have used that to snarky women on bad dates before. So
never in the heat of passion have you ever been like, now this is pod racing.
Yeah. I just yell wizard during any encounter with a female. So the final question you were getting at here, and maybe this man will ask it for you, but would you ever turn to the dark side of the Force?
No, I could never do it.
I can see why. You are a Star Tours purist. You have a awesome Hawaiian t-shirt version of a Star Wars Hawaiian t-shirt, and you love Luke Skywalker. You are not a dark side man.
As you're tempted, and that's one of the things. Another one of the things I like so much about Luke is he rides the line. He tempts that fate, and you see how the dark side can help you, and we see it in Clone Wars and all the other stuff too.
Right.
And in Force Unleashed, which I liked as well. You can see like the full power of the dark side, but then you can get redeemed by all of that. Like it's as easy as it can be to be tempted, it's just as easy to say no, and that's what's so powerful about the Jedi, I think.
Such a good guy. Look at this guy. He's so good. He's so nice. Final bonus question for you. What is your favorite Star Wars sound effect?
Lightsaber. Just a whoom, like a lightsaber fight. Yeah.
Or just the overall sound.
Which one?
Oh,
that's the thing, because there's the classic one, or then there's just the one that got introduced in the prequels, originals, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then the one that we heard in the Rebels episode today with the Vader's classic.
Yeah.
Like that one is scary because you're like, something's about to go down.
Something's about to go down. Well, let's transition into that a little bit. Mark, you did great with those questions. We now know you tremendously as a Star Wars fan. You are worthy of the engineer's booth. We're going to go into Star Wars Rebels here from the HoloNet. This is our news of the week. There was some other news that broke this week. One thing I would like to address, I addressed it on my show Spotlight Star Wars and the Napzok Files podcast feed. This rumor, and I didn't click on the story too much. It is technically an Episode 7 spoiler. So if you want to avoid it, I'll give the old Maude Garrett Kermit the Frog spoiler arms for about 20 seconds. This rumor that Nien Nunb might be appearing in The Force Awakens.
That was not what I was expecting in the least bit.
Nien Nunb, if he's piloting a Y-Wing, my Star Wars dreams have come true. What do you think about that? You excited about that?
I mean, it makes sense. They're trying to bring as many people from
Does it make sense?
Well,
we're not getting Wedge.
In terms of well, no, that's what I mean.
Because he didn't want to appear.
But
Dennis
that's the
Lawson
thing,
didn't want to.
If you're shooting for Wedge, you can shoot for anybody, really. And Nien Nunb is one of the most, like, in the penultimate scenes in the destroying of the Death Star.
Nien Nunb's my guy.
Yes, I know. He is
my guy.
You'd be his manager any day. But any of those sort of fringe characters, it makes a lot of sense for them wanting to bring them back.
And if logically he can fit in, I'm all for it. I'm excited. It's just a fun little footnote. That's kind of a Star Wars side note there. I don't even know how true it is. I just saw it. I clicked on it. I looked at the supposed picture and I went, that's awesome. One of the only spoilers I let myself have, and it was over Nien Nunb, which says a lot about my love. But let's get into Star Wars Rebels, Siege of Lothal. And also, on AfterBuzz TV, they got a great Rebels AfterBuzz show. Dylan, Kate, and Megan host a great show there, and I want you to watch that. You can go to YouTube and catch their review of it, which they did over the weekend, and then Season 2 picks up again in the fall, and we're going to have the Rebels kids on this show as well to talk about it. So this weekend, the two-parter was basically 2 episodes put together. This is some of the stuff that was shown at Celebration that I did not get to. Oh, that's right. Sorry, spoilers are done. Oh boy, that was bad. Some people forgot. I forgot to do the spoilers. Thank you, Toby. You're on fire today. This I didn't get a chance to see the Celebration, so I was very intrigued. I heard great things about it. Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis got a chance to see it, and I think Christian Ruvacabla Cobster from Schmoes Know got to see it as well. And they were raving about it, and here it is. Saw it. Sat down yesterday afternoon with some chips, some dip, some beer. It's a good Sunday afternoon. Watched Siege of Lothal. I absolutely loved it. Mark, quick thoughts. Where do you stand? Then we'll dive in.
I really enjoyed it. Like it's a good jumping off point for a season. It got a lot of it established a lot of things. It reestablished how the Rebels are moving forward now, kind of on a little bit more of a shaky ground.
Yeah.
But the new addition to the team, Ahsoka, it was good.
And you brought up a great point off air here, and I mentioned, it's no secret here, the first season of Rebels, I liked it. I totally liked it, especially towards the end. I was on board, but it started off a little wonky. I'm not a fan of Ezra, and it was look. We're adults talking about a show on Disney XD, so I
say that
I get it, but it's hard. When you DVR a show and the commercials come up, but it's like 11-year-old commercials targeted for 11-year-olds, it makes you feel like, why am I watching this, and why do I care so much? But I do care. And the first season, it was a lot of primary colors, and it was establishing characters. That's the point you brought up off air. Yep. Share that now. That was a great point.
Now that we've established all of the characters, we've established them as a team, and essentially what makes them tick, now we can play. Now we can explore the universe with these characters and tell the story that they really want to tell.
Right. And shame on me for doubting even for a second Filoni and Kinberg and the team behind it. I love Clone Wars. Even the Jar Jar and Frog Officers episodes aside, or the shark villain, there's a lot that I loved in the Clone Wars, and there's a lot of depth to those Clone Wars cartoons. It's pretty much the same team doing it. I totally trust Filoni, as I drunkenly told him at Comic-Con last year, along with Matt Key from Marvel Movie News.
Bless your heart.
Key cornered that man and said, "You did something better than the prequels, which made Dave very uncomfortable. But I should have
shake him too.
Pretty much.
Good.
And Key's a big guy at 6'4", 6'5". It scared him a little bit.
Yeah.
That cowboy hat rustled for Filoni. Again, shame on me, because this one, the feel was darker. I love the imagery. Some of that stuff with Vader, the shots with some of the old McQuarrie, the design of Vader is a little bit more geared towards the McQuarrie side of things, a classic callback to those designs. And I loved all that. But the other stuff, what do you think so far? And it's only 2 episodes in. On the Rebel side of things, with Hera, Zeb, and Kanan, and Ezra, and Sabine, and Chopper, the fart bot.
That's pretty good.
Even them, a little bit of change. Where do you stand on them first, and we can dive into the Imperial side?
Well, it'll be interesting seeing where Kanan and Sabine land, because they at the end of the show they're talking about actually becoming a part of the rebellion instead of just sticking with the ragtag crew, and it's definitely a lot different from where Kanan saw himself at the beginning of season 1. So seeing him reticent at the evolution while still having to train,
having to do it and get Ezra. You're right.
Especially now knowing that Darth Vader, or at least a Sith Lord, exists,
which is great that they're not. Sure, I love that theme.
Not
still
sure.
Goes. Yeah,
Ahsoka is sure.
Ahsoka is sure.
That the moment where she saw
and he saw, and she saw.
He didn't know what he saw.
They
didn't know what they saw. Ahsoka knew what she saw, and that was heartbreaking.
The apprentice lives.
And then of course hearing the Emperor,
hearing Sam Witwer as the Emperor. We'll get there.
But in terms of it'll. It's kind of like starting at square one again, but now you just know the characters.
And you mentioned the Kanan stuff, and that's some of the stuff I liked a lot. Is again what draws me to Kanan. And if you're not reading the Marvel comic yet, Kanan the Last Padawan, it's great. You see some of the formation of that character, and some of the best stuff in New Dawn was the Kanan backstory of him kind of being a drinking, womanizing not quite really an ex-Jedi because he never finished his training. I love that kind of darkness to that character. He doesn't come across as dark on the show because, again, it is Disney XD. You're not going to be smoking in a corner, Hera, come here, kid. But I think Freddie Prinze Jr. deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing with the voice work here. It's great.
Agreed.
And so that moment where he was like, I don't know if I want to join. I kind of want to go back to do what we're doing. That's depth to the series I need.
Very much so. And even Ezra overhearing that and being like, well, now I need to do something in order to keep this group, my new family together. Made it. It was like a kid walking in on mom and dad arguing, sort of a thing. Sure, we'll go there.
I believe at some point Kanan and Hera have spent a little time in the Ghost. I think that's going to come out at some point there.
Sure. Why not? Again, Disney XD show.
I know it's a Disney XD, but I want that spin-off book, The Love Affair of Hera and Kanan.
So maybe we'll see it in the Marvel books, maybe not on XD.
Maybe that'll be the one. And Ezra, the key to this series for me long-term might be the growth and development of Ezra. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You mentioned it, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano, absolutely, hands down, one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Might even put her a top 10 character because of the growth. Going from little precocious snips to this kind of person who left the Jedi Order, was thrown out, turned her back on it, all that kind of stuff. And now she's come and she's prominent, comes back, fulcrum lead, now she's leading the rebellion. That growth was key. I don't know if Ezra can get there. Where do you think they can take the Ezra character?
I think it'll be interesting to see. Ezra might turn to Ahsoka more. Is what it seems like it might be happening, because here's this person that may treat me a little bit better, not better, but you know, it may just be an offhanded thing every once in a while where Kanan might not necessarily snap at Ezra, but it's something where there'll be a bit of a Padawan, a rivalry over the Padawan, and maybe it'll be more Ahsoka's vision that gets imparted onto Ezra as opposed to Kanan.
Let's talk about the Ahsoka moment. And I see someone in the chat room, I want to give credit to James Farley, says, I'm saying it, The Apprentice Lives is one of the all-time greatest Darth Vader lines. And you know what? I'm not going to say that's wrong. I can get on board for that. And it's great, too. Let's talk about James Earl Jones, of course, voicing Vader. Loved what they did with it because they tweaked it just enough to where it's reminiscent of the New Hope sounding Darth Vader, which was a little bit higher and tinnier to me. Love. I mean, we're living in an era, 2015, that Darth Vader has new lines of dialogue spoken in length, in full, robust length by James Earl Jones. That is, you can't go wrong as a Star Wars fan.
That alone makes, if people aren't watching Rebels, that alone makes it worth watching.
It's great. And the imagery is great. Yeah, Steven's got that picture up of Vader. It looks, it's great. I mean, that great moment.
But that's the fun thing is we know this character. We know the power of Darth Vader where these characters don't. And seeing like, oh, this'll do it, and you're like, now you pissed him off. Like that's not gonna do anything. So us kind of being in the know creates a different dynamic for this show. And though at the end they're sending another Inquisitor, it's still,
which I'm predicting will be something the character Sarah Michelle Gellar's going to play, and I'm on board with Daddy Harloff that's going to be some version of Mara Jade. We don't know; it could be something else, but I think that's what's going to come up.
Interesting.
It's going to be some version of that character.
That sounds fantastic.
But the Ahsoka moment was great, and what I love about this is this is Vader in his prime. And if you read some of the new canon books, Tarkin, and I just finished Lords of the Sith, those show Vader getting to his prime. Rebels takes place 5 years before New Hope. This is Vader the monster. And Lords of the Sith, Vader is a monster. If you have not read that book, I cannot recommend it any more higher than I am right now. It is a great book. It is my favorite of the new canon books so far. Dark Disciple's pretty good. I'm starting that right now too, and I'm looking forward to Aftermath. But Lords of the Sith, it's so much about Vader, and there's an Ahsoka moment in it.
Oh yeah?
And it's, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's an Ahsoka moment in Lords of the Sith that makes sense. It's not cute, and the name Snips even comes up, and you don't comprehend the idea that Darth Vader is connected to Anakin Skywalker. And I said this in Spotlight Star Wars. We separate those characters a lot. Vader and Anakin, we know they're the same. But Anakin's the guy we kind of knew in the prequels and the Clone Wars. Whether or not you like the content of those movies. Little Annie. Whether or not like the content or not, there's that character and then there's Vader. Well, now it's the same character, same person. Lords of the Sith does that. It connects them, and this does it too. Do you feel what I'm feeling on that?
I don't know.
Do you feel what I'm feeling?
I can't speak about Lords of the Sith, but
sure.
In this context, yes, especially with the conversation at the end with the Emperor, but and just how the whole fight at the end, the whole TIE fighter assault, which was the coolest bit of like, you want to talk about Anakin Skywalker being a great pilot. Yeah, that the moment where he just like backflip 180s and upside down takes out the Phoenix Squad, like that, like holy crap. Yeah. And then when they all have the realization, and he goes, oh, I need to change my plan. I need to do this. For whatever reason, he wants to see Ahsoka again, whether it's to handle it himself, or see what the Emperor has to say about it, or whatever. But that moment changed what this whole season is going to be. Absolutely. And for me, when that moment, the apprentice lives and everything, and it's Vader in his prime saying that, it's like, is this going to start? Is this that fall that's slowly starting with him and the Emperor? You know, maybe it brings up something in Anakin that's still in there, or maybe it's Vader who's like, I must get this demon out of my past. Yeah, and that could be. So it's definitely shaping up to be. That's the thing, is we don't know what part it's going to be, and that's what makes it interesting. Right, and it's shaping up to be. We got Triple H versus Daniel Bryan here. That's right. I'm not done talking wrestling. Ahsoka versus Vader. Is that the fight you want to see? Does the season end with that, or at any point? From what I've seen from people posting about the presentation at Celebration, that happens. And I much like a Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, I just hope it gets its time. I hope they give it its time. They build it up properly. Like, it's got a whole show of Clone Wars that built it up, and now it's got to have the new framing of Darth Vader as opposed to Anakin Skywalker. So it's a new after the heel turn, everything changes.
Yeah, and it does. And I think Freddie Prinze said there's going to be longer, more episodes this year than the first. So there's the stories there. I know Vader's not going to be there every week. This is kind of to bring him out at the beginning. You're going to bring in this new Inquisitor. It's going to kind of be the villain all the way through. So I think the story will have a chance to breathe.
Agreed.
I would hate if 5 episodes in Ahsoka and Vader are fighting. Would it be cool to see? Yeah, it would. But I do want this to draw out. It's going to. I'm sure the last 3 episodes are going to build up to something like that.
Like an hour and a half special.
Like an hour
essentially
and a half special.
the movie, the Rebels movie.
Snips versus Annie. Me in battle.
Best marquee I've ever seen.
What are some of your other thoughts as we round up the discussion on Rebels?
My mouth was agape when that transporter exploded. Like I should have seen that coming, but I was like, wow, off the bat, we're just killing people.
And a character dies. It's like it's Game of Thrones. A character dies on a Disney XD show.
And it just leaves it to be like you see the treachery and the terror of the Empire. Like we see old dudes in a boardroom talking about killing planets, but when you're starting to see it person to person sort of a thing. And
I never really thought about that scene in New York in New Hope as a boardroom scene.
It really is. It's a bunch of old white dudes in a boardroom talking about killing a planet. This weird like 7-foot tall dude with a light sword comes in.
Nearly 35 years of watching Star Wars, and you just put a new thought into my head. That is a good thing, Mr. IG88 pin.
I'll do what I can.
Anyone bring the Excel sheet on the Rebels? Can we go to meeting? Go to meeting.com.
So who's got region 3? And like, so could you imagine there's somebody who it's their first day at, like, they just got promoted and they're like running late, their alarm doesn't go off, they have to take a quick shower, they're out of like shampoo, and then they make it in there, and then Vader walks in for the first time, and you're like, what? He's gonna kill somebody.
Admiral also has to Skype in. He's gonna be a little late.
Yeah, well, can we get on the conference call, please? Yeah, make sure he's got the number.
That's awesome.
This was a wonderful way to start the season.
It was.
And the fact that we have to wait till the fall is just like, all right, I guess I'll watch the season and this episode all over.
Yeah, absolutely. I've saved it on my DVR. I'm going to watch it a few times. I was watching it again this morning.
It's a good point.
And it's so good. So Star Wars Rebels Siege of Lothal is out there for your viewing pleasure. If you haven't seen it already and you got through this discussion without being too spoiled in your brain, go check it out, please. It is a very fun thing to do. And before we get into our E3 Battlefront discussion on all that stuff, I want to talk to you about a cool opportunity for you. It's really cool and exciting, and Mark and I were talking about creating a little Star Wars dance.
Please.
Maybe be like the Star Wars kid in the garage, because you have a chance to submit a dance to Dance Battle America at dancebattleamericacasting.com. What is this? Well, it is, like I said, something really cool. It's from our very own AfterBuzz TV founder and e-host Maria Menounos and Juliana Hough from Dancing with the Stars, and it is a ABC special called Dance Battle America. Now, if you follow Maria like I do and Juliana Hough on Instagram and social media, last couple of years, every time during the holiday season, they get in these little dance battles that happened organically. One would post the other, and then they'd fight.
It's crazy, silly fun between
crazy
friends.
Fun, and it was a fearsome dance battle. And then eventually, other people like Kate Hudson and Amber Riley joined in, and it was fun. I'd sit there home eating turkey, watching the next dance. Some of the very own AfterBuzz people I know would make appearances in those dances. But those ladies are now challenging everyone in America to battle it out for a chance to fly to Los Angeles and compete on the dance show. It's an opportunity for a lifetime for people like me and Mark who are going to incorporate lightsabers somehow, some way.
Damn right.
If you want a chance to dance on network television, go to dancebattleamericacasting.com for more information. You do not have to be a dance pro like us or Juliana Hough. Just have fun with it, and that is why Dance Battle got started and why it took off. So once again, submit your dance videos to dancebattleamericacasting.com. Do not wait. Do it right after this show. E3.
Before we get to E3, comments really quick. This is amazing.
Go for it.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant compared to the profits the Empire made in the first quarter. And that was Toby Ellis, songwriter.
Toby Ellis, you're on fire today, man.
So now let's talk about E3.
No, that's great. You guys are great. I love the comments. I love the comments on what you guys do. E3. You got a chance to go E3. Now, for people who don't know, E3 is a big convention out here in Los Angeles.
The Electronic Entertainment Expo.
E3. That's what it is.
Nailed it.
That's what it is. You get to go. I've never been to this one. So talk to me. Tell me the experience of and the Star Wars had a big presence.
Yes. E3 it's a big trade show, so it's mostly the developers showing each other what's going on. A lot of the press is there, but it's essentially, here's what's going on for the next year financially, the next quarter, whatever. So there's a lot of business to it, but it's become this big song and dance. And arguably the most anticipated title to going into it was Star Wars Battlefront.
Right.
There was Fallout 4. There's a lot of other...
A lot of great stuff came out of it.
A lot of great stuff came out of it. But Star Wars Battlefront, the whole EA conference, which is the publisher, was... They had a countdown in the bottom corner that's like countdown until Star Wars Battlefront gameplay debut. Right. And in between every other thing, they're like, don't worry, Star Wars is still coming. It's like, wow, all right. So the booth was entirely Battlefront centric. The line was really long. I didn't have a VIP pass, but I waited about 2 hours.
Wow.
And
Bring a granola bar.
And a Game Boy and a phone and text and all the crap. So I took some pictures. The demo was centered around the Battle of Hoth, and you were either on the Rebel side or the Empire side, and when you walked into the first display, it was the hallway that looked like the barracks. Like when it starts, you hear the alarm that there's an air raid siren, and of all of a sudden you're... Unfortunately, it wasn't as cinematic as like a Star Tours where it's like, all right, come on, we got to get you in, we got to get you through. It was door opens, you wait in line, there's like a dude in an X-Wing pilot suit just kind of keeping an eye on everything. R2 is just kind of standing there, everybody's just like on their phones, but you're hearing like the coming, there's an airstrike, like you're hearing all that crap, but everybody's patiently waiting. Then we went to like this what's the war room? We went to like the war room that everybody was waiting for the Battle of Hoth. Yeah, there was some great stuff I saw. Yeah, it was cool. And Admiral Akbar came on the television and essentially prepped our demo, which was you're going to be fighting on the Rebel side of the thing. Here are your weapons. If you're on the Empire side, you had access to TIE fighters and the walkers, and you had to take out the power generator. If you were on the Rebel side, you had access to X-Wings and the snowspeeders, and you had to take out the walkers. So... Any tauntauns floating around? No tauntauns. At least not yet. See, already. So with the demo, it was essentially, all right, here, line up, and it wasn't like, oh, I want to be Empire. It's just here, go. I was a part of the Rebels. The loadouts were interesting. Since you're dealing with laser weapons, there's no reloading. It's all overheating. There were implosion grenades. There's a lot of thermal detonators, all of the fun buzz weapons that you hear, you get a chance to use. You're a soldier, boots on the ground person. So if you want to idolize yourself in these battles, Battlefront seems like the game for you. The one issue, well, I had a couple issues with it, but it was just a demo. So there were some. Are these your controversial remarks? These are my controversial remarks. If you're looking for a straight up Star Wars experience when it comes to video games, you buy Disney Infinity. You do not buy Star Wars Battlefront. Whoa! Star Wars Battlefront was fun. Mark Donica. Oh my God, Mark. You're on your soapbox here. That's me. That's why it's in the name. Explain that. Well, what is the iconic moment in the Battle of Hoth? What do you think is the iconic moment? I would say it is Luke waving goodbye to Wedge. You're absolutely correct. And you can't do that in Battlefront. The first AT-AT coming down. That's right, I said AT-AT. Yep. Luke taking out a walker with a grenade. Being able to take out an AT-AT with a snowspeeder with the tow cable. Gotcha. Great shot, Jensen. Exactly. Okay. So there are these little power-ups that you can get. They spread them all around because it was a demo, but it's like a perk where you have to get certain kills, and that unlocks the ability to get a snowspeeder. When you get in the snowspeeder, you're in the middle of a war zone. People can shoot you down. The AT-ATs can shoot you down. So figuring out how immediately to like send out the tow cable and drive around. It took me about 4 tries, and I still could not do it. I couldn't like the button. I tried pressing the button. Okay, I missed a little bit, crash into a mountain, or crash into the ground, and it was a little bit too fast. It was a little bit too this. So living that fantasy was like, oh well, okay, maybe I'll just try to crash the ship into people off the ground. That didn't work either. It's probably just because it was an alpha build. The X-wing, the battlefield, they don't start you far enough to where you can see everything.
Gotcha.
You start and it's like right below you, so you have to go, oh, I have to go to, and then you crash, and then you're done, and then you're back on your feet. So in terms of,
for an old guy like me, that means the game might be moving too fast.
A little bit too fast. The actual shooting and the sniping and the guns were fun, but it was also, it's a war game. We're so used to war games, and Battlefront came out in a time when there weren't that many like first person and third person shooters.
Love Battlefront 2 10 years ago or so. Does it capture any of that at all? Or my fear is, when I'm a big GoldenEye fan, of course, for the Nintendo 64, and then a couple years ago they re-released like an updated version, and I grabbed that thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have fun with like a better version. I'd stop playing it.
This one will take some getting used to, just because shooters have changed. So much like the films have changed, whatever. But this feels like they made Battlefield with Star Wars, and that's not necessarily a bad thing,
right?
But in terms of going, oh, this is Star Wars, I didn't have that feeling.
Interesting, which is the primary reason I would want it. I don't need missions and whatnot. I Force Unleashed was great, and we're going to talk about that a bit. But I just want to get in and grab a gun and go take down a walker, or be in a walker and take down a shield generator. That's there, but
it's there. You got to build up. There's a learning curve, which most games have.
Which I get it,
but it's not as fulfilling as I suspected it would be. It was worth playing it, and I'm gonna play it when it comes out, because again, this is just a demo, and there'll probably be a better way to ease you in.
I'm gonna get it regardless at this point, but we'll set up how many people can you get in that tournament?
I believe it's, what did we have? I think we had 32. It's either 32 or 40.
So up to I heard up to 40. That's in the back of my head. I don't know why. When that happens, we're gonna have a Jedi Alliance tournament.
That's a lot.
All right, me, Steven in the booth, I don't care. Any video game
we'll just
people,
bring it on.
We'll just get in that room and fight it out.
And the fun thing that I brought is, and all disclosure, the reason I got my ticket was from Disney Infinity, because I'm a big Disney Infinity fan.
Right.
I got this as a result of going. I got the Rise Against the Empire set, which comes with Luke, Leia, and the game piece, which is the Death Star. And I got more of a chance to play this game, and this one is what it had it all for me. This one, I got a chance to be looking at all the characters on the back, just so that I can double check. I was Han. I was Vader. Vader was one of the most fun people to play as, because he was the most powerful. Boba Fett, Luke, Sabine. I got to play as Ahsoka, and the lightsaber fighting is like you would lightsaber fight with friends.
Now, I've seen the Infinity games at my friend's house. He has a daughter. He has to go buy all of them. They do look very good. But you're saying this is giving you a better, more pure Star Wars experience than Battlefront.
Yeah.
Explain that point to me.
Well, there's a couple reasons as to why. With the Kenner dolls, you could create any sort of a scenario that you could.
Sure.
You could make an Ugnaught a Jedi hero if you wanted to.
You could make an Ugnaught defeat an IG-88 assassin droid.
Makes sense, but it's the thing that Infinity has always been is, here's some toys, go play. Right. And with the Star Wars, all of the characters feel like they should. The vehicles feel like they should. I played the Hoth level in Disney Infinity and took down a walker with relative ease.
But yeah, look, my counter to you is going to be like, all right, but this is designed for younger kids, right? So it's going to be 6+, right? So shouldn't Battlefront be a little more difficult?
It should be more difficult, and I'm not saying that it's not
difficult.
But the feeling of this is Star Wars resonated a little bit more with the Infinity than it did with the Battlefront, because Battlefront is just the battles. This is you get star speeders, you're on Endor. I mean, you're on Endor in Battlefront 2, but they didn't reveal that yet. This is a little, I don't know. this made me feel more like it was Star Wars than Battlefront did.
Fair point. I mean, you're the one sitting there waiting in line 2 hours to play that one. So, and the designs look good. I don't know if I'm going to get the game, but I might end up having to get these figures. I'm trying to resist it, but those look damn cool.
Yeah,
great designs.
When it comes to the actual characters from all of the Marvel and the Disney ones that I have, they're amazing figures.
Yeah.
I never thought I would have a really cool, like, this high Iron Fist like statue, but I do because of Infinity, and it's really nice.
Right.
It's really cool. But the Disney Infinity experience was like, we got all 6 movies are represented in one way or another. The lightsaber battles are engaging. The exploration is fun. Just fun combat, fun vehicles. It's easier to pick up and play. But
fun is key.
Fun.
Star Wars is about fun.
It's supposed to be fun, and you get a chance to get new Star Wars figures and play with them in completely different ways.
I like that. And they at Celebrations, they didn't really have a lot of the Disney Infinity stuff. I don't think that my memory might be wrong on that.
They announced it,
but there wasn't any of this stuff, and it was all Battlefront. I was at the Battlefront panel, and it was a big thing. And look, that trailer was awesome, but we were all worried about the gameplay because you can make any video game trailer look awesome. Show me the gameplay. Going back to the Battlefront briefly, is the gameplay? Is it smooth?
It's fine, but it's a shooter. It's a first-person shooter.
I get you. I know what you mean on that.
We didn't get a chance to try any of the Jedi classes, so we couldn't get to play as Luke or Vader or any of the ones that they showed in the trailers. Or Boba Fett. So that could completely change the game. I'm surprised that they didn't have it ready for the build where everybody is supposed to be talking about it.
Right.
But like when I was a kid, when you're a kid watching those movies, you want to be one of two people. You want to either be a Jedi or you want to be Han Solo. And I never,
or an Ugnaught because they
or an Ugnaught because apparently they're badass.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to be a soldier on the ground. You know,
Right.
I never wanted to be a dude with a blaster getting on the front lines. You know, that was never Star Wars for me. For me, it was me with my my Force lightsaber shooting up and me breaking it and having to get another one within a couple of weeks. It was me wanting to feel like I was a Jedi, and with
and Infinity gives you that.
Infinity
feeling
gave me that feeling.
Controversial, sir.
Controversial,
but okay. The Old Republic wasn't really there. This new game.
Old Republic. They showed a trailer for a new expansion.
Looks cool.
It looks cool because it looks like a group of people that we've never seen before.
Yeah, you got some fathers, some twin brothers. One's got this cool looking side face scar, mask covering it, and everything.
Yeah, and it looks like you choose one of the sides, and there's more story missions. I just started playing Old Republic, and it's interesting, but
I'm so not familiar with that world, but
that's why I would like it.
Always looks great, and it's.
If it's represented a little bit more in like films or series or something, and I think more people could get on board with it as opposed to, I have to play an MMO. Okay, I'll do that.
So overall at E3, do you feel Star Wars represented itself well? You got to ride a speeder bike, right?
I did, yeah. I think we have the picture there. That was one of the coolest things where it was just sit on that. There was a crashed. That's not like a facsimile. They had a crashed Hoth speeder there, and that was.
Did you get a chance to do the X-wing experience?
I didn't. No? I couldn't. I didn't know where that was.
A couple of my friends did that. Matt Key from Marvel Movie News got to do that. He did one where he just started like crying as he flew in the cockpit there, and Brittany Wallet got to do it as well. His fiance. It was great. It looked fun, but it was like 10 seconds. Like
I saw the videos and I was just like, where was that?
I would have paid good money for like a 2-minute experience.
Please
just put me in that trench run.
Just like, just feel the cockpit. This is nice.
Shake, rattle, and roll. But overall, E3 fun convention for you.
Fun convention, a lot of fun Star Wars representation, and a lot more of a money sink thanks to Disney Infinity.
What convention isn't a money sink? I mean,
when it comes to Star Wars stuff,
Look at that. I had to bring a backpack for my toys to Star Wars Celebration. It was empty when I got there, full on both days when I left. So that's our look at E3 and Battlefront. This is not by any means our video game episode. We are still going to do a couple episodes down the line devoted to video games, and Mark's going to come back for that one as well.
Please.
So that is E3 Battlefront coverage there. The game comes out in November. Pre-order so you can get your Battle of Jakku expansion pack, because that's canon and it factors in episode 7.
It does. Well, it's not going to be anything that people don't get already. It's just like you get it a week early.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, the pre-order.
Yeah,
Get
just
on.
pre-order.
Pre-order. So from there, we're going to go into this week's Duel of the Fates. We did not have one last week.
The whole thing was a Duel of Fates.
It was last week.
Really?
Week before, we asked a big Duel of Fates question, which was, what are you, or will you, or what did you have your own children watch the Star Wars movie in? Which order, I should say. 1 through 6. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. What are you going to do? Going to wait to episode 7? You don't have any children as far as I know.
I don't.
Okay. But with that IG-88 shirt and pin, you might have one soon. Quickly, how would you have your children watch Star Wars?
I liked the idea of the 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
Kind of those machete orders and kind of those new little orders coming around.
I wish that the Topher Grace edit of the original 3, was public, because then I'd be like, here, then watch that
one,
and then we'll do 4, 5, 6.
And then we'll get through.
But no, I like the idea of 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6.
Gotcha. That's okay.
Or 2, 3, 6.
I'm going 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. I'm going the normal way. A lot of you had your answers, and it's on the Facebook page on Jedi Alliance. I didn't go through them this week because I forgot, because last week we didn't have one.
Nope.
But this week's Duel of the Fates, we're going to stick into the video game world. This is one specially designed for video game experts such as yourself, Mr. Soapbox.
That's me.
Mark. And this week's Duel of the Fates is select your character, player 1. Dash Rendar or Galen Marek, a.k.a. Starkiller. Which character is your favorite of those two in the video games?
It would have to be Starkiller.
You're going straight to Starkiller.
The same reasoning that I have with the Disney Infinity is it's a Jedi. You get a lightsaber. You get a freedom of Force powers that you never, arguably on the same level of Darth Vader.
Right.
Arguably. So getting that chance to use it for either the light side or the dark side, taking down a Star Destroyer, with one hand, not even like just one hand and you're done. Also, it's hard to go back and play as Dash Rendar. It really is. It really is.
Technology has changed your enjoyment of the Dash Rendar character.
That N64 controller, just not a fan. But which one do I hold?
Which one do I use?
But with Starkiller, just the graphics, the fact that was canon at the time, and the implications of the story that Darth Vader was training a secret apprentice and kind of started the rebellion. Right. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Let me go back and play this again? It was beyond cool.
Force Unleashed is a great game. Force Unleashed 2, not so much. We know the story behind that and stuff, but Force Unleashed, you can't take it away. That was great. It was dark. It was fun. I always go to that word dark. I guess I want everything dark and grimy in my Star Wars universe. But at the end of the day, it was fun, and you're absolutely right. Being completely unleashed, no pun intended, to use all these Force powers. I would go back and just play the game sometimes just so I can, lightning bolt some stormtroopers and choke and throw them. Exactly. It's such a good character. Dash Rendar, though, it's not my vote. I'm going Starkiller.
Okay.
And I got to be honest. Can I be honest?
Be honest.
The one reason I'm going with I like Dash Rendar. I like the ship. I like the story starting on Hoth. It was the first time, really, unless you counted the 1981 Atari game where you had like 2-bit graphics trying to take down a walker. Yeah. It was the first time I got to put that tow cable around. And again, fun. That was the key. And it put me in that universe. Dash Rendar, it's kind of a cool character. And the fact that his ship appears in the re-releases of A New Hope. Yeah. Takes off from Tatooine. I love that kind of stuff. But the reason I'm going with Starkiller is pretty simple. He's got a pretty hot girlfriend.
Oh, yeah?
Juno Eclipse.
Yeah.
Give me Juno Eclipse.
That's what you're... That's final...
at the end of the day.
Not the fact that Dash Rendar is Han Solo light, but...
He's like Kevin Costner as Han Solo.
That's who he looked like.
It kind of looked like Costner from, Bull Durham or something like that. I like Rendar a lot. He was cool in the 90s. He was like the cool character to kind of like. And Galen Marek, again, the formation of the rebellion, all that kind of stuff, really cool story. But at the end of the day, come on, Juno Eclipse.
That's the thing.
I'd like to press lips with her in space, right? Am I wrong?
That is possibly my new favorite sentence. Press lips with her in space. All of the sense make.
All of the sense of making there. So that is our Duel of the Fates for this week. It is Dash Rendar versus Starkiller. Go ahead and join the conversation on our Facebook page, Jedi Alliance. I'll post it up there tonight, and we'll have that conversation next week. And, of course, you can tweet us in as well as Jedi_Alliance, hashtag Jedi Alliance if you want to, and follow the Popcorn Talk as well, and put it all together and have a conversation. So, Mark...
Sir,
I had a lot of fun with you on set today, man.
Yes, this was fun, and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm poo-pooing Battlefront. We're both getting the game. It's going to be fun.
I will, yeah.
This demo just didn't present it in the strongest light to me.
That's fine. I cannot wait till I sneak attack you on Hoth. It's going to be fun. Mark, like I said, you have a great podcast called The Gimmick Podcast.
Yeah.
You also do the show Do Games Make Good Movies. When is your next episode, and what's it about?
Next episode is going to be next Monday, and we're going to be doing the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
I think I have an answer to the title of your show. Questioning me there.
It's a pretty general answer for most movies, but we started with the 1995 Mortal Kombat, and that one people are on the fence about. But that's great.
I like that one. There's some stuff I liked about it, actually, there.
So
and of course,
go check it out on the Popcorn Talk.
On AfterBuzz TV, you, Hobo, and Kathy Kelly cover NXT, which I think right now is the hottest property in wrestling. You've got a lot of fun watching that and talking about that every week.
Yes, sir. And we also do, we had interviews the past couple of weeks. There's still one more with Sasha Banks that we had to reschedule. We are looking to see when that will be, but if you are a wrestling fan, please join us on NXT for AfterBuzz TV.
Absolutely. I know I do. Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, the boss, Sasha Banks. There's so much going on there. You guys have a lot of fun. Of course, the Hobo is my favorite SoCal wrestler.
He is so great.
I've seen that guy grow from a rookie in school under Ryan Katz's tutelage all the way up to where he is now. I'm so proud of that guy. So watch that show. And, of course, Mark, they can follow you on Twitter at...
You can follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark or at The Gimmick Pod.
Absolutely. Do that, and I'll get on that Gimmick Pod very, very soon.
We haven't actually sat down and talked wrestling.
We need to do that.
Weird.
We need to... Yeah, we should. We'll get a hot dog one day and do it, too. Definitely. That has been this week's edition of the Jedi Alliance celebration of the greatest saga ever told here on the Popcorn Talk Network. I want to thank you so much for joining us and staying with us in the chat room. And if you're on iTunes, do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review the show. And the Popcorn Talk Network is growing. It's getting bigger. Big things coming. And you can see everything that they do on youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. Guilty Movie Pleasures, Box Office Breakdown, Profiles with Manson Malone, Meet the Movie Press, Marvel Movie News, DC Movie News. We got your show, Do Games Make Great Movies, Bolly, What? Action, the Anatomy of an Action Movie.
Action Movie Anatomy,
a lot of stuff coming out of that, so please follow them. Don't forget me on the Schmoes Know main show, broadcasting from this very studio live every Thursday, 6 p.m. PST. Follow us on all those Twitter spots. And this has been Jedi Alliance on the Popcorn Talk Network. We talk movies. Thank you for listening, because many Bothans died to bring us this information.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.